Hello, folks. How are we? Been a while. Back again. It's my homage to Boris. It's not that good, is it? I've just messed it up. So, hey, I'm unemployed. Well, I don't suppose you're surprised, are you? No, I got laid off because the people I work for I wanted to save some money, I guess. I don't know why. They waste enough, but there you go. Wait till they get robbed and then they'll be looking for someone to blame and they'll be looking to bring people back. Anyway, so it's quite nice. I don't intend to do much this side of Christmas. Not too much, anyway. I had a blood test this morning. I went into my GP the other week and I said, had a conversation about chemical support. And so it's not that easy to get. I mean, in years gone by, I went in and said, "Oh, Doc, give me some drugs, will you?" And they just went, "Yeah, what do you want?" There you go. It's not that easy now. So, and because I'm a certain age and I'm a risk to the NHS, which is fair enough, I'm a burden on. Well, I'm not. I haven't been a burden on the taxpayer yet, but that might be to come. So, anyway, I went in. So before you can have drugs, which I'm not actually, I don't think I'm going to go down that road anyway because I'm not nearly, don't need it, don't need that. They want to test your liver and your kidneys and see if you've got diabetes and cancer, see how long you're going to live before they invest any money in you to keep you fucking alive. You know what I mean? See if it's worth it. So that was like 6 weeks ago. Thankfully, in the meantime, I've managed not to hang myself or throw myself under a train. But don't worry, I'm nowhere near that. But I'm just saying, if I had been, geez, I guess I'd just have had to wait. Good job I wasn't in a bad way. But I suppose if I'd have presented myself in that kind of state, they might have more readily given me drugs. But anyway, so I've got to wait for that. I'm waiting now in trepidation to see what kind of evil diseases I've got lurking in my body. Although I do feel actually that God is punishing me, so He's going to let my kidneys and my liver be absolutely tip bloody top, so I can carry on fucking punishing myself without any fear of imminent death. Or I could just be living in cloud cuckoo land. So anyway, that's that. That's my health issues. So it's funny because my dear parents, at that point in life, when I phone them up, bless them, and we do talk about other things, but the primary point of our conversation is their ailments, which were not inconsiderable, but and I honestly hope I don't get to be the age of my father. Or if I do, I hope that I'm in fine fettle. And my dad was in absolutely fine fettle. Physically, he's absolutely sound as a pound. I say that. Recently he's gone down because of his knees. He's a bit stiff and everything. But luckily, his gardening kept him very fit. My mum's just going mad with my dad because it's difficult. But I guess they're happy, so that's good. So where else was I going with this? I'm unemployed, so I'm not looking for anything. Happily unemployed for now. That will probably change at some point. Interesting. I left the job, and where I work, they don't. I know them on a purely professional basis because it's the way we work. I very rarely work with anybody else at all. I'm always on my own, and the boss is a really nice guy. The guy who owns the company. Really nice, friendly guy. So he doesn't know very much about me. He doesn't know my habits, and I manage to behave myself whenever I'm there. I don't indulge myself in things that I shouldn't do. So I wake up today, go for my blood test. This is my first day not working, and I come back and I've got a thing on my mat like a parcel, like you've had a parcel delivered. So I had to go across the road to get my parcel. There's a big box. Interesting. Go in, open this box. It's a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue Label. I'm like, oh, really? You shouldn't have given me that. And I just bought myself a bottle of Jameson's this morning because I was down a little bit. My reserve had gone down to like 5 bottles, so so he buys me a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue. And I'd said in a conversation to him ages ago, like, the only, because I don't particularly like Johnny Walker, but I do like Johnny Walker Blue. And I'd said to him, I said, the only Johnny Walker I do drink, and I would drink, was Johnny Walker Blue. And he remembered that. And so what a lovely thing. So he sent me a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue with which I can punish my liver with. I fully intend to do that. Liver kit, all those awfully organs that you think you don't need, but you really bloody do. I'm going to give that a good hammering. Sometimes aches in the morning, you can hear your pathetic little organs going, oh, it's too much. Like, get a grip, will you? Sort yourself out. It's just a wee drinky. Wusses. Anyway, so it's that remembrance, isn't it? So apologies to those people. I'm very reverent about remembrance, and I respect everybody's right to remember remembrance however they do. I don't indulge myself in public shows of remembrance. Apart from this, gatherings, because I something not quite right about it. For me personally, I know there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but it just doesn't feel good to me. I don't like being in it. I don't like I certainly do not like putting my frigging medals on and putting my uniform on, because I don't have one and I wouldn't put one on. Would never put my medals on, such as they are. In fact, I'm not sure I've got them all still. But no, I don't like that at all. It's not about us, it's about them. Remembrance isn't about us. Remembrance isn't about us to go to Remembrance and say, look at all my medals, look what I did. I'm one of, you don't need to do that on Remembrance Day. Remembrance is about remembrance. And not just us. Lots of people served who didn't bloody die, and who didn't go to the front, and who didn't whatever. There's lots of ways to serve your country. Yeah, I know Remembrance is a specific thing, and everybody gets hung up on the 2 world wars, and kind of sometimes forgets about all the other stuff. I have quite a few friends feel exactly the same way. It gets to Remembrance and it all goes a bit quiet for them. And I feel like that. I've not been to a Remembrance service for years. Certainly not since I left. At which point I would have had to parade. But I haven't been. I go to a memorial, I go to Remembrance, I go to memorials, I go to graveyards, I'll go to cemeteries all the time on my own quietly. I'm not going to march. I'm certainly not going to march to any screaming idiot civilian who can't remember that he's now a bloody civilian and it's over. Sorry, folks. I ain't going to march to swing my arms for any tit like that. Yeah, you do what you like. Anyway, so with Remembrance comes... I always write a remembrance poem, which is really annoying, isn't it? I know, because I read everyone else's, and it's all about trenches and people's intestines spilling out and fucking blood and guts and dead people. I always try and write something a bit different, which doesn't necessarily emulate Siegfried Sassoon. Vidal Sassoon. It's because I'm looking at my hair. Because that, I pay a lot of people to do this to my hair. That's why I got Vidal stuck in my head. No, Siegfried. Yes. I kind of get weary of poppy poems. Not the great poppy poems, obviously. You can never tire of them. The authentic voices who you read them and you think, yeah, that's been written because that person saw that and knows what he's talking about. I read some stuff, it's just dire, absolutely dire. I think they've watched all the only battles they've ever seen or battlefields they've been on or whatever. I don't know, been on bloody History Channel. Anyway, so yes, so there's always a different aspect to that kind of remembrance poetry, and I think 2 weeks ago, someone I know, another person, committed suicide, a soldier, former soldier. You know, I don't think that can be written about enough. Although it can, but I appreciate it can get tiresome. So all these people who get marginalised, I know it's our fault. Listen, we volunteer, we join up, we go. So we carry our own crosses. There are burdens, and we don't necessarily want anything other than respect or to be understood. Certainly not to be silenced or pushed aside for speaking the truth. Anyway, so I've written something this year, and I've written a few things this year, but I don't really have a space to put them up like I used to, because you know, I'm not on that site anymore that I got banned from for telling an old soldier's story and using his words, trying to convey what it's like. And that's a man who fought in a war that I couldn't imagine or was never part of, horrific things. And it's only now that he's dying and he's got dementia that the memories foremost in his mind are coming to the fore of his mind, and he's expressing these things in his dementia now. And people are going, "What the fuck? Where's that come from?" Yeah, and that's come from the trauma that's still buried deep down in him. And although he's now crazy and he doesn't know what fucking day of the week it is, his trauma's still in there and it's coming out. And he's speaking like that person he was back then. And I was trying to express for him what he felt, using his words, but people don't want to hear that. Expunge history from the record, folks. Anyway, so forget about that. That's just me moaning and feeling fucking sorry for myself because I'm a big girl's blouse. But as much as feeling sorry for myself, and I try not to, I have a great deal of sympathy for others who have no fucking voice. No voice. Some people can't even express themselves. Some people are too scared to tell other people how they feel. And although this might sound right up myself, that's why I do what I do. I don't do it for any other reason. You could say maybe, come on, I can't honestly deny that there's not something deep down in my ego going on here, because there must be. Otherwise I wouldn't, I don't know. I can't deny that. But I honestly want to make noises for other people who can't for themselves. And I've had a few people write to me about stuff I've written, and they've said to me that they do feel that way. And that makes me feel better. That makes me feel that's okay then. I'm not doing it for financial gain, Jesus Christ. Definitely not for that. I've had more ridicule and more nastiness aimed at me and thrown at me because of the things I've written than anything else. Tell the truth, people fucking hate you. People don't like the truth, don't like it. So I kind of started writing more about people who are marginalised and pushed out and who feel left out, and people like, incels, people who get fucking sick in the head and end up doing stupid things because they feel they've been pushed out. Unfortunately, some of these people are veterans, and they can be helped before they get to that point, and it should be. And I've written a couple of things in the first person, which on reading them people might think there's warning flags going up there. It's not me, folks. It's not me. But I know those feelings. I'm not going to go to a shopping mall and, do outrageous things. I'm not going to go and hurt anybody. But I understand how people get to that point because they lose their voice. They get sidelined. They become invisible. They become fucking invisible. And that's another reason why, remembrance is important, because there is a place they can go and be seen. So as much as I say I don't like wearing my medals and doing this and marching up and down, I understand that works for other people, and it is a necessity and it's needed. And if that works in a good way for them, then that's great. I won't knock that. That's not what I'm saying, and that's not what I'm about. Anyway, so I wrote this. This was kind of, and I've gone on about it a bit, about Joker. Now, I know it's just a fictional daft film, but anyway, I watched Joker, and it struck me how much it reminded me of Taxi Driver. It's the same story. It really is the same story as Taxi Driver. Now, I know that was written about, and I know now that, honestly, I hadn't read that before I saw the film. So, and I drew those conclusions, and then I read about afterwards, because I put in Taxi Driver Joker, I did a search, and there it was. There's all this stuff about Taxi Driver being like, or Joker being Taxi Driver, and I thought, well, yeah. So I'm not feeding off of that. It's just a thought I did generate myself without having to read about it. And I thought and in that thought, I thought, Jesus, this isn't anything new. This young men finding themselves on the fringes of society isn't a new thing. It's been going on for years, and we haven't our generation hasn't fucking just discovered this. We're some kind of enlightened bunch of the chosen generation, because we're fucking not. We're a long way from that. So it struck me that that's like 40, 50 years maybe between those films. Nothing's changed. So in another 40, 50 years, it will still be going on, this, assuming that we're still having little skirmishes and wars and slaughtering each other. It's never going to end. So I wrote, and this is from there's a scene in Taxi Driver where Travis Bickle, who's the character, he's mentally ill, and he's at the point where he's just about to shave his head and get a Mohican, and there's this little diatribe, because he keeps a diary, and then he says, here's a man who stood up, and here is. And it struck me about that, here is, he's saying here is, here I am, here is. But it struck me as being like, no, here is, this is, here is, this is the now, here is, this is happening now. Not here is, here am I, but here is, still going on. And it's just, it's a snippet of the thing he writes in his diary, and he's stuttering over it when he's writing it. He's not even conscious of what he's saying, maybe. But he knows who, in essence, he knows he's had enough. He's had enough. This is it. I've had enough. And here's a man who stood up. Here's a man who stood up. But in his standing up, he has become the antagonist. He's not. And the whole end of the film is like they make him into a good guy, and he's not. He's killed a bad guy, and he's protected a girl. He's rescued her from her wayward life as a prostitute. But he's committed murder. So is he a good man doing bad things, or is he a bad man doing good things? I love it. I love the way that this film turns him into a good guy. So he no longer knows what he is. He exists, and then people perceive him as one thing and not another, because he's a low life, down and out. He's a nobody. He's a piece of shit on the street taxi driver who can't sleep. He's an insomniac, drug taking, pill popping freak. The next thing, he kills a drug dealer and saves and brings a girl back off the street, and he's a hero. But actually, he's a murderous fruitcake. But you have sympathy for him. I love it. These characters exist. They exist now. So I wrote "Here is" and "This is it," and I kind of this is my this year's Remembrance poem. There's no spilling intestines or gas on the front line this year. It's just called "Here is." So I'm just going to bring it up here, and forgive me if my eyes fall away and I'm reading it, because I never learn my stuff. It's so transient. There's no point. I'll write it down, so I'll read it. So just let me bring it up. There we go. So there is bloody emails. There is graphic language in this. I say the C word, but I'm quoting him, so sorry for anybody who doesn't like that. This is called "Here Is." Here is. Listen, you fuckers, you screwheads, you cunts. He never talks, so no need to ask them to listen. He used to talk. He builds his strength so he can destroy. He used to protect. He thinks and reads so he can express himself. He used to write. He looks at beautiful things to avoid the horror. He used to keep an open mind. He embraces a religion which he despises. He used to fear his damnation. He has knuckle dusters in the glove compartment. He used to bestow benefit on doubters. He sang his babies to sleep and raged against wrong. He curses children and cracks dull skulls. Here is what you made him before you. Here is what you wanted from him. Here is. Here is. Here is. There you go. Weird, eh? There's a funny line in there. I didn't know whether to keep it in or take it out. He embraces a religion which he despises. He used to fear his damnation. I used to be a born-again Christian. I'm not anymore. But it struck me, when you hate yourself and when you despise yourself and when you loathe yourself, which I don't now permanently. I do it occasionally, I feel like that. But when you feel like that, when you have that self-loathing, religion actually is a great thing to kick against, because religion affords you eternal damnation. So, you have to believe in a religion to reject it. Do you know what I mean? Does that make any sense? So if you reject your religion, and yet believe in it, you're going to burn in hell for the rest of eternity. And for those so self-loathing people, that is what they want. They want their religion to be true so they can reject it and burn in hell. Because that's what they think they deserve. And that is the kind of madness that is born from horror, I think. The things you see, the things you do, the things that you're made to do, the things you feel you need to do, the things you feel it's your duty to do because you're told it is. You see those things, and you hate yourself, all that self-loathing, and you want to suffer. Well, if you want to suffer, give your heart to Jesus, because he'll fucking make you pay. Give your heart to Jesus, you can spend eternity burning in hell. Christianity is the answer for all you self-loathers. Embrace it. I suppose you could just be a Satanist, but I don't believe in any of it. Anyway, that's me done. Sorry that was a bit boring. Take it easy, and hopefully I'll see you before Christmas. And if I don't, we'll have a good Christmas. Cheers, folks. All the best.